So another critical piece of the essential plan is the cognitive assessment. Just kind of touch on that. What is it, the process that you go through with clients for that cognitive assessment?
We use a standardized tool, either the MOCA, which stands for the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, or something like the MMSE, which is the Mini Mental Status Exam. These are proven tools. They've not been around, they're not new. They've been around for decades. And what we do is ask the questions, we're certified providers to ask the questions, I am, and then we give you a tally. And these tools measure your cognitive processes in multiple domains. It's not simply memory, it's memory, executive function, visual spatial determination. So because certain parts of the brain measure things in different ways. And since it's a standardized test, we expect to see certain scores. And if scores fall out of those ranges in certain domains, we can recognize that may be an early sign of cognitive impairment or a dementia. So here in the United States, roughly 20% of people in their 60s will have a mild cognitive impairment. About half of those, as they age, will advance to a full-blown dementia, Alzheimer's being the most common one. And of course, once people get over the age of 85, about a third of our elderly population actually is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So the sooner we can recognize that, get people the help that they may need, or just monitor it, know their baseline, the better off that person and caregiver will be.
Great. Kind of a follow-up to that then, is this something that for an elderly person that would kind of generally naturally happen within the course of them visiting their primary care physician, or is there a kind of age trigger that you look for to say, hey, at a certain point, you really want to ensure that you've had this, this type of assessment done? Just kind of a little bit of a background, whether that's kind of taken in the context of can be taken in the context of the primary care, or if, like with what long-term concierge is offering through this essential plan, this is a great thing to also kind of have done independently at a certain point.
So that's a very good question. Most insurances, so if you're under Medicare age, most insurances do not see the value in this and will not pay for it unless you are already showing signs of issues, and then the doctor has to prove that it's warranted, or the healthcare provider.
Sure.
Once you get to Medicare, the primary care doctors very often would like to do it. And not that it takes that much time, but we've all been in our primary care doctor's office. They have a gazillion things to do, and they don't typically have the time, the bandwidth, the staff to do it. So they'll give you what we call a mini cog, a version where they'll just ask potentially about 3 of the questions, and depending how you score on those, repeat it a few months later, and then they may send you to a specialist. So meanwhile, you're losing time. The 3 questions is a great mini screen, but it's not the full screen. So I recommend to most people they do get it done outside of their primary care office. But I don't want to say there aren't any providers out there who are doing it and doing it well. It's just not typical.